everybody. Welcome to my homestead and welcome to my channel. My name is Jared. Interesting news today. National Christmas tree toppled by strong wind. Officials hopeful to still hold lighting ceremony. So we're going to go over this and something that I feel like this could be connected to. We also have some updates from Israel. Some more news on that weird China pneumonia sickness. Some new stuff coming out about that. And then more flooding that I want to share with you. But before we get to that, just a quick word about my sponsor. Hi, everybody. I just got my Artza box, and I was looking forward to this one because it's the Christmas box. And last year, they sent a couple ornaments, and I was hoping that they would do that this year, and they did. Got these two ceramic ornaments. One says Shalom, one in English and one in Hebrew. And then you have the State of Israel with the Star of David inside. I want to show you the ones that I got last year. These are both made out of olive wood. They both have the nativity scene. I like this one because it's the Star of David and it's 3D. It's pretty neat. And so I was excited about that, getting some new ornaments. They also sent these Bundakim halva-coated nuts, and I don't know what that is exactly, but it is good. It's sweet. They also sent date syrup. I'm excited to try that. And then the other thing that I really like from this package is this Star of David candle holder. And on the back, it has a little sticker that says made in Bethlehem. So these are just a few of the things that were in this package. So the way that it works is you can either do the seasonal plan, which is basically just a one-time box, or you can pay for the annual plan, which gives you 4 boxes for the year. Now, in the description box of each of my videos, you'll see this link right here. Order your Artza box from Israel. And if you use Jared25 as the code, you'll get 25% off. Just one more thing I wanted to share with you. They sent this letter and it explains what Artza is. Let me just read a little portion of this. Artza was founded during the COVID pandemic with the mission of connecting people to the land in stories of the Bible and to support small, local Israeli businesses and charities when travel was forbidden. Once again, we find ourselves in a position where there is no tourism and tens of thousands of small businesses are struggling to make ends meet. Many of their employees have been called into the Army Reserves and large orders are no longer coming through. So you guys, if you have the spare money, please consider buying an Artza box. It is worth the money. It's really fun, especially if you have kids. I promise you, your kids will like it. I know that ours have. All right, so what's going on here? This is on ABC News. I actually first heard about this on X. This article says the 40-foot tall, interesting number. You think 40 days, 40 nights, and 40 years in the wilderness, things like that. The 40-foot tall national Christmas tree was toppled on Tuesday afternoon near the White House by a strong gust of wind. But National Park Service officials suggested they were still hopeful about holding the annual lighting ceremony on Thursday. The gusts reached 40 miles per hour. Of course they did, in the Washington area on Tuesday. And then here's a picture of it, the toppled tree. The national tree on the ellipse is actually the second one to hold that honor this year. Oh, well, what happened to the first one? The previous tree was cut down and replaced earlier this month after becoming infected with needle cast, a disease, the Park Service has said. Okay, so why would we give this any attention? Some of you may not agree, but whenever you have things like this happen, things that belong to the whole country, that are possibly symbols of the country, I think maybe we should take notice. And it seems like this year we're having a hard time with this Christmas tree. The first one, if you take that as a symbol of the United States and how we become an ever more wicked nation, and you have all these different philosophies creeping in, it's like it's diseased. And then this one being toppled by wind, you know, the obvious symbol there, it's like God's displeasure. Now, you may think that that's silly, and I don't know, maybe it is, but it makes me think back to this, which happened about a year ago. I don't know if you remember this or not. First ever election day total lunar eclipse comes early Tuesday. So what happened was on election day last year, we had the first ever lunar eclipse, a blood moon. Probably not a good sign with that coinciding with election day. There's a little bit that I want to read about this. Not only is Tuesday election day, but we will also have a total lunar eclipse. What are the odds of those two events coinciding? Well, believe it or not, it has never happened before in the history of our country, and it won't happen again until 2394. Now, I'm sure by that time, the second coming will definitely have happened. If not, then I don't know what to think. So that's an interesting thing to happen a year ago. And now, right now, we have the National Christmas Tree that for the second time is suffering a disaster. Now, there is updated footage. And here's the tree right here. It's being picked back up. So it seems like everything's going to be okay. But when you have something happen twice, I don't know. I think it's good to maybe stop and pay attention. There's probably lots of other signs, maybe some that we've missed. I'm doing my best to try and keep track as many as I can. But these are two signs that are United States specific. And this one, not only the United States, but also Christmas. And that made me think about, you might remember this. Last Christmas, there were two things that happened. One is there were 3 giant asteroids. According to this, we'll have close encounter with Earth on Christmas Day, December of 2022. And then on Christmas, not only were there those 3 large asteroids, but there was also this. There was a planetary alignment. It was what they call a planetary parade or an octet, where you have all the planets line up, which would include, if you're counting the 8, I've already covered this in another video, but if you're counting the moon or the Earth, you can use either one. That would be the 8th planet. And what was the interesting thing about that is that last year on Christmas was coinciding with the 8th day of Hanukkah, the day where they light all 8 candles. And so on that very day, when you had this octet or planetary alignment of 8 planets, Jews across the world were lighting all 8 candles of their menorah. And in the Christian world, it was Christmas Day. So I don't know, make of that what you will, but there's been some interesting signs going on with our country and with Christmas. Don't know what that means, just want to take note of it. Okay, so that's what I have for you first. News today, according to the Jerusalem Post, Israel-Hamas deal. These are the 10 hostages released on Tuesday. And they're all female, most of them elderly, but these are the next 10 that have been released, so that's good news. Hopefully at some point, all of them will be released. So we have that's going on. I saw this article on Israel 365 News. White House IDF op in southern Gaza must be different than in north. So remember, it seems that this war kind of has like 2 main phases. One is in the north of the Gaza Strip. They've surrounded Gaza City. They've taken Al-Shifa Hospital. And there was some interesting news in this that I didn't know. Let me just read what I have highlighted. The U.S. has reinforced in very clear language that the next round of IDF operations must not produce significant further displacement of persons, said a senior Biden administration official. That's just another way of saying making people homeless, because the northern part of the Gaza Strip has suffered a lot of damage. It's essentially entire neighborhoods have been destroyed and reduced to rubble. A senior administration official briefing reporters on Tuesday said U.S. President Joe Biden and others in his government have reinforced in very clear language with the government of Israel that, quote, conduct of the Israeli campaign when it moves to the south must be done in a way that is to a maximum extent not designed to produce significant further displacement of persons. Now, this is the part that I didn't know. Israel is expected, following a ceasefire that will carry through at least Thursday, to begin operating in Gaza's southern portion, with the Biden administration fearful civilian casualties could explode. So if this is right, it sounds like this week they're going to start heading south. So we'll just have to wait and see how that turns out. Is that going to escalate things even further? I don't know. The official said Israel has been receptive to the White House's concerns. Okay, so this is a big development. I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens after this ceasefire and the exchange of hostages. see how many hostages will be released. But after that, it looks like they're going to head south. Remember that Israel promised that they're going to completely destroy Hamas, that every member of Hamas is a dead man, quote unquote. So, and I think that they're going to make good on that. And if they do, I think it's going to further enrage all the groups and nations that are already upset at Israel. And maybe that'll escalate things even more. We'll just have to wait and see. Okay, now moving on and talking about this weird China pneumonia. This is on Fox News. Childhood pneumonia surge reported in Netherlands amid outbreak in China. Okay, so now this same thing is happening in the Netherlands. There's a few things here to read. Okay, childhood pneumonia cases are surging in the Netherlands, a health agency in the country has reported. During the week of November 13th to 19th, there were 103 pneumonia cases in the Netherlands out of every 100,000 children between the ages of 5 and 14. That was an increase from 83 the prior week, according to the Netherlands Institute for Health Services research. This is a significant increase over the peak of the 2022 flu season when the country recorded 58 cases of pneumonia per 100,000. So compare that, 58 cases last year to 103 this year. That's almost half. That's almost half of what, or this is almost double, I should say. What's happening this year is almost double of what happened last year. So that is a really big increase. China has also seen an unexplained increase in childhood pneumonia cases and other respiratory illnesses. ProMed, the global digital disease surveillance system, reported on Monday that Chinese hospitals, primarily in Beijing, have become, quote unquote, overwhelmed with sick children as a result of the pneumonia outbreak. At a press conference on November 13th, officials from the Chinese National Health Commission blamed the spike on the lifting of COVID-19 restrictions, as this is the first flu season since the country eased its strict lockdown measures. And, okay, just a little bit more. While the doctor said he is a bit skeptical about China's and the World Health Organization's assertions that everything's okay, he said he also believes this may be the same phenomenon that the U.S. experienced last year, which he calls immune pause. Quote, they were locked down for all of 2022, and when you release the lockdown, all the upper respiratory viruses, RSV, influenza, COVID, come roaring back, Siegel said. So, I don't know. Is that what's going on? That, you know, this was what was mentioned in the last article, the last time that we talked about this. And according to those who checked it out, I think it was the World Health Organization. They said that they didn't identify like any unknown strands or, you know, viruses or anything like that. So I hope that this is the case. I hope that this isn't some kind of new thing that's going to start spreading across the world, and we're going to have to go through that whole rigmarole again. But we'll just see. But so China first, and now the Netherlands, and we'll just see if this keeps spreading. Hopefully not. Okay. Wanted to share this video. We already covered this, the storm surges going on in the Black Sea, both Crimea and in this case, Sochi, Russia. So this was a new one where this guy almost got swept away. Thankfully, he's okay, but you can see that this has been a very violent event taking place. Let me just go to the map really quick, just to remind ourselves what area is being affected. Essentially, it's this part of, well, the Crimea Peninsula and then Russia over here. There's also been some of the coastline of Turkey affected. Some of these are part of like this like storm surge that's going on, but all these other place markers are just flash flooding. So this part of the world has been hit pretty hard this month. So that's what we have going on there. Okay. And then the last thing that I have to share is coming out of Singapore. This is from the Straits Times. And yes, this is an actual media group. They've been around 178 years. I'm always kind of leery if I come across some website that I don't know who it is. I don't know if it's like some weird little company or if they're legitimate, but it seems that these guys are. So they have some flooding going on in Singapore. Quote, "This is the first time in my 12 years in Singapore that I saw the area flooded like that. But I'm not shocked because the floods in the Philippines are more scary," the 37-year-old said. So a quote from I guess a resident there. And there's only one video. I thought I saw more earlier today, but this is the only one that I could find where you can see this crazy flooding. Not as bad, like as far as like the current goes, it's not as bad as other places that we've seen. You don't see any cars being swept away or people or dumpsters or people in kayaks or anything like that, but there is flooding. So I went ahead and I put this on the map, and this is actually close to another location that we just covered. This is Bukit Tinggi in Malaysia. So because these two events were so close together, I don't know if they were caused by like the same storm system. I didn't read anything like that in the article, so I don't know. But I would assume that they probably were. It's unlikely that you would have these two places around the same time having this kind of flooding, but I don't know. So we have that. And then we did have in the Philippines, but this was earlier this month on the 8th of November. So got some flooding over here in Southeast Asia. The rest of it has been taking place around the Black Sea, and then over here in Eastern Africa, Kenya, and Somalia. And then from Storm Kieran, we've had parts of basically northern Italy that saw a lot of flooding, and then northern France, and then Jersey of the UK, which saw hurricane force winds, and that caused a lot of damage. I think that's pretty much... Oh yeah, we had the Caribbean, we had Jamaica, Haiti, and the Dominican Republic all see, crazy flash flooding from a storm. Was there anywhere else? No, that's it for this month. So that's where we're at. Okay, well, that's going to be it for this one. If you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe, like this video if you liked it, leave your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. Also, make sure to share it, and I'll talk to you guys later.